Hello, 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 folks. How are we doing today? It is a beautiful Sunday. Well, no, I lied. Actually, it's about a million degrees outside where I live. So, yeah, I've got a fan blowing on my legs right now. Just hoping I can stay cool for this stream. Sometimes it gets pretty hot in this room. But I hope everybody out there is staying cool, both physically and metaphorically. And I hope y'all are having a great weekend so far. Grombom says it's a million degrees and humid here. Ugh. Yeah, same. Happy Sunday, happy birthday. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Grombom. Thank you, Chris. Yes, it is my birthday weekend, and what better way to spend it than with you all? Yeah, no, I've had a great birthday weekend so far, and yeah, I got to see some family, got to do some fun stuff, so I am digging it. Hence the later stream today. Um, So probably not going to get any viewers, but that's okay. It's still fun just hanging out, and might get some. I hope that we get some new people who aren't normally able to tune in to the stream, popping in today because this is in their time zone. So I think it'll balance out. All right, the timer has ticked down. So hello, hello, hello. Once again, I hope everybody's having a great weekend. We are going to have some fun today with ChatGPT. So, I'm sure that everybody watching this, whether you're here on Twitch or on YouTube, I'm sure that all of you fine folks know what ChatGPT is. But I'm curious, how many of you have actually used it to build stuff, for coding help, to write code for you. Chris says ChatGPT website speed run. Let's go. Yeah, and so that's basically what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be building a site from scratch, specifically a React powered site from scratch. And hey, Meg, thank you so much. I appreciate the birthday wishes. Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun so far, and we have a fun topic today. Jeff Kang, what? Thank you so much. We're only what, like 3 minutes into the stream and a prime sub? Wow. Thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate that. And the best part is it didn't cost Jeff anything. That's what I appreciate the most. It was just benefits all around. All it did was cost Jeff Bezos money. And the even better would be if Jeff Bezos decided to join that cage fight with Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, and that would be even better. But we'll take what we can get, right? Arwen says, I tried it a little. Oh, using GPT to code. I tried it a little with React Native. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. Absolutely, Arwen. And that's one of the things that I wanted to kind of highlight, that I'm sure we will highlight with today's stream, is I think I already know one thing that it's going to get wrong, just because I did a very shallow test run. I didn't do as much as we're probably going to be doing here on stream, but I just wanted to kind of dip my toe in and see how it might go. And I already know one thing that it's probably going to get wrong, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And it's great to show the capabilities of ChatGPT, but it's also great to show the limitations and why we still need developers who know what they're doing and who can recognize when things aren't correct, or it can recognize what needs to be fixed. So that's why this is just a tool. It's not a replacement for developers. And Priya says, what if we don't have premium subscription of GPT-4? That is absolutely fine. I just want to show you GPT-4. So if you don't have that subscription, you can kind of see the types of things it can produce. But you can still do all of this stuff in GPT 3.5. In fact, we have done. A few months ago, I did a sort of another version of what we're going to do today, except using GPT 3.5. And we were able to build a website. We built a sort of a very tiny React app. It wasn't really a full site. But then we also built a full stack website with HTML, CSS, a MongoDB connection. We did that as well using 3.5. So 3.5 can absolutely do all of that stuff. And you shouldn't feel like you have to pay for GPT-4. The free version, GPT 3.5, is absolutely sufficient for you to code with. but I'm glad you asked, Priya. Dan says, "Hi, mine. May any hallucinations you come across be non-self-aware and non-hostile." Yes, absolutely. We all want neutral hallucinations at best. And what Dan is referring to there, if you don't recognize the term hallucination, that's what happens when the language model that's underneath of GPT, when it starts to get a little confused and starts to return things that are not real, or things that it tries to convince you are real that are not. Um, and yeah, that's a very common thing. Let me turn on closed captions here before I forget. I apologize. I'm so glad for that reminder that pops up in my chat. You guys can't see it, but I can. I get an automated reminder that pops up in my chat. Ooh, thank you for the follow, Bagel. Hope you're having a good day. Oops, and I've got still got my old Moobot automated thing popping up there. That's what we built last time, so feel free to check that out if you want. It's not today's project though. I would maybe I'll turn it if I remember I'll turn it off during the first break. If not, it'll just keep popping up. It's not going to hurt anything. Also, I want to do one more thing here. I want to edit uh, the display window here and make the chat box a little smaller if it'll let me. Yeah. Okay, that way it's not blocking so much of the screen, and so you all can see more of what is in the GPT window. Hey, Third Decade, good to see you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Yeah, that little emoji with the little flames coming up behind the little wolf. That's about how I feel today because it is a million degrees where I live. I've got a fan going on me. I've got air conditioning, and I am still dying. So we'll see how long I can make it here. This room gets so hot every time I stream because my graphics card is going, and yeah, it's nonsense. All right, so you should be seeing closed captions up on your screen now. If you want to enable those, you can go over. You can scroll over to the right side of your screen and click the. You should get a little pop up on the right side with a closed caption button. You can click that and have closed captions. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I think what I would like to do. Dan says that'll learn you from buying a 4090. I don't have a 4090. What do you think? I'm made of money? I have a 3070. Thank you very much. But it's still, yeah, it still puts out a lot of heat. Chris says, "Rip, it's so hot here too. 100 to 105 every day this past week." Yeah, yeah, that's hot. It's not been quite that hot here, thankfully, but yeah, still very hot. Hey, Chanpo, thank you. Good to see you. All right, so what I'd like to do today is kind of a continuation of what we did the last time we built an app using ChatGPT here on screen. So the last time we did it, we built kind of a very traditional website. We generated the HTML, we generated the CSS, we generated the JavaScript, and it was all very we had a lot of files and we were juggling a lot of different things, HTML, CSS, all those things, and trying to make them fit together. And I think what I would like to do this time is just build it in React. So building kind of a similar thing, except in React. And I think we'll be able to see how we can consolidate a lot of those disparate features that we had last time into, just a single React app and incorporate some styling with something like Bootstrap. Also just embedded in the React code itself rather than having to have a bunch of separate, files that we're trying to link together. So we'll see if that works. It might not, but that's part of the fun of it. So Dan says, "What a flex on a bro who's still rocking his 1060." Hey, that's what my laptop has, and I love it. I mean, it worked great for a long time. It still works actually. Yeah, yeah. 1080p gaming, a GTX 1060 is still fantastic. Absolutely. Hey Ryan, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. So what we did last time, for those of you who did not see the last time that we built something on ChatGPT, we did use GPT 3.5 last time. We're going to use GPT 4 this time. What we did last time was we built a website for a dog groomer. So, if you're thinking about building things for clients, I try to give it sort of a real world application, so to speak. So something that you might actually build for a real client. Maybe not as pretty, but you get the idea. So how could you leverage ChatGPT to build something for a client maybe faster than you would be able to otherwise? And so that's what we're going to do again. We're going to build a dog grooming website again, except this time we're going to do it in React. And we're going to see if ChatGPT 4 is able to improve the experience with less prompting, less, tweaking and trying to fix things. And yeah, we'll just see how we do. So also dogs are cute. So, I have a folder full of dog pictures, which I hope we can incorporate into this website. Um, and, as media files. So we'll see how that goes. So generally when I am starting to build an app using ChatGPT, and I'm going to pull this over a little bit here too, so we can see. Also, GPT-4 does have a cap of 25 messages every 3 hours. So we'll see if we go over that. I honestly don't know. We'll see if we hit the cap. But anyway, how I usually like to start when I'm building an app with ChatGPT is I'll just say, I'll say something like, give me the code for a dog grooming website using React. So what you're doing here is you're basically laying out the ground rules of what you want from GPT, and then everything after that is going to be the specifics of how you want that app to be built. Because these learning LLMs, these language learning modules, are all built on context. So they're trying to see what is the appropriate next word based on the prompt that you have given it. And so you want to be as specific as you can to what you want back from GPT. Dan Kinko says 25 every 3 hours. That seems tricky if you're trying to build an app. Yeah, it is. We're going to see if we hit it today. I honestly don't know. All right, so give me the code for a dog grooming website using React. And I think what I want this to be is I want it to have 3 pages. I want to have a homepage, an about us page, and a page for services. So in my other window here, I have a little script from my test run. So I'm going to pull that up and kind of roughly copy it. But all right, so there should be a homepage with information about the business, such as name, hours, location, and splash photos. And by splash photos, what I really mean are just those big images that kind of stretch across the page. Now, it's probably not going to give us that because we aren't asking for any styling. And by default, when GPT generates code, it generally does it without styling unless you request it. But what we're going to do is we're going to get the structure of our app built first. We're going to get the mechanical parts working. And then we're going to add styling as we go a little bit later on, rather than trying to do it all at once. That just makes it harder to troubleshoot. So, and there should be an about us page with when I have some with information about the owners and photos / bios of the dog groomers. Oops. And there should be a page listing all available services with descriptions. And then also what I want people to be able to navigate around this site. And so at the top of each page should be a nav bar with links to all pages. And then also what I want is to please generate a list of fake services because otherwise it'll just try to put in some placeholder comments and things asking us to put in, our own services. But I want it to generate, this is a fake site for fake people. I just wanted to put in fake services for me, fake services with descriptions and prices, and generate a list of fake employee names and bios. Okay. Dr. Moda says, is this going to be a static site? Um, so by static, do you mean is it going to uh, like have interactive elements? I mean, it depends. It depends on how this goes, right? If it goes well, then I would like to add like a form where you can request services and get information back and get a success message and all those sorts of things, or maybe even a calendar where you could select some dates. Um, if it doesn't go well, then we might be limited in the amount of features that we add. It just depends. Hey, Freedom, good to see you. Yes, we're using GPT-4. I'm going to go ahead and enter this, and let's watch what we get back while I read the rest of chat here. All right, we'll move this over a little bit more. Yeah, so we can see it gave us a site map. So it's showing us how our site is going to be built and the folder structure. It gave us a navbar component. It gave us a homepage component. It gave us an about us component, and it's still cooking. So you can see how it's generating each of the individual components that we asked for. Freedom says, I'm doing some alpha dev chat GPTing right now, and it's super hard but rewarding. Chat GPT 4 is so strong. Yeah, it is pretty strong. I think the only limitation, the main limitation, I would say, is its knowledge base is limited to the end of 2021. That's something you always need to keep in mind. It does not know about anything from 2022 or 2023. So, and then it reached the end of its generation, so we're going to continue generating, but it will just keep going from there. I love that it has a continue generating button now. It didn't used to. Dr. Mona says, is there any interactivity? Maybe. As I said before, it depends on how well this goes. There's going to be some interactivity in that we can click, from page to page, but we'll see. If we'll see. All right. So let's see what it gave us here. Yeah, so it's telling us the approach it's going to use, which is a functional component approach, which is the approach that we want, modern React, right? With React Router for routing, that's fine. And it's not doing any complex state management because we don't need to. We might add that later, but we'll see. Yeah. Brainland says, did you have to take calculus in your major? So yeah, I was a stats major actually in college, which is weird because I hate math. So yes, I had to take all the calculus, like all of it, every calculus. I took it, and I did not enjoy it. So yes, but to do this kind of thing, you don't need calculus. To be a developer, you don't need to be good at math. I say that as someone who isn't good at math. Dr. Mona says, tell it to make it look like the Space Jam website. You mean the paragon of web development, the Space Jam website? Absolutely. I don't think I can duplicate greatness. Champa says, can you duplicate what you just wrote out, please? Yeah, I can drop it in chat. It's fine. And so what we're going to do next is obviously see if this actually works. Prompt was, oops, I think it reached a character limit. It almost got there. The last part of that was this. There you go. All right, now chat is clicking a little bit more. I can catch up. Oh, thank you, Ajab. Good to see you. Yeah, and there are some plugins that are now available for GPT. We're just using GPT vanilla here, though. Nothing crazy. So let's go ahead and start building out our app. So it didn't tell us explicitly how to start our app, but I will say that normally it does. Normally it will tell us to do our app using npx create react app. So that's what we're going to do here. So inside of my VS Code window here, I've already got a folder created for this project. I'm going to say npx create react app, and I'm just going to call it dog website. And so it's going to create all the React structures for me there. That takes a minute. Yes, the Wolfram plugin can do math for you. Absolutely, it can. Yes. And Freedom says another trick we use is text files, and we load the entire program template into text files and ask GPT-4 to code a new program inspired by blah blah.txt. Oh, that's cool. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's great. That's fun. Yeah, I used so when I was in college, I used Wolfram Alpha. You know, back when it was just a website and not a super sexy plugin. Um, I used Wolfram Alpha all the time in college because I didn't understand math. So Wolfram Alpha was a huge help. Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead. We've got our app running here. So I'm going to open into the folder structure here. And if we look at what GPT gave us, we can see that it is telling us where our components should live. So so it's telling us to go inside the source folder and to create a new folder called components. And so that's what we're going to do. So it gave us the structure that it's expecting us to use and to make these files work. So and it's telling us that that's where our components are going to live. We can probably, we could get rid of these other files, but let's get it running first, and then we'll do some cleanup on the files. Dr. Moto says, does anybody else say thank you, robot, after ChatGPT solves something? I'm very polite to ChatGPT. I say please, because if it suddenly becomes sentient, I want it to remember me as one of the good ones. So, all right, let's grab this stuff. So first off, we're going to create a new component called navbar.js. Now we could have done this in TypeScript or all those different things, but you can have it convert it to, if you get something that you like, you can have it convert it to TypeScript if you want. Move this over a little bit there. All right, drop that in and save it. And we'll create another component called homepage. Now notice I haven't vetted any of this. We're just going to dump it in and see if it works. So homepage.js. And the next one is called aboutus.js. We'll grab that. And so you can see, just like we asked, it gave us a couple of bios for a couple of fake employees, which is perfect. We can have it. What I'm going to do, if once we get this working, what I'm going to have it do next is move this employee information out of this component and into its own file, and then we'll import that information into the component. That's the better practice, is to store that kind of information off site somewhere, whether it's in a separate file or whether it's in a database or whatever. So I think for our purposes, we're probably just going to dump it into another file and then import that information. But for now, we're gonna leave it as this, and I'm going to save these as I go. All right, next up, we're going to have a new file. We're going to have services.js. Now I'm curious. I want to see. Yeah, okay, so it did generate the nav bar for us. That's perfect. All right, services.js. All right, and I'll grab this and dump it in. And you can see it gave us a list of services there with names and descriptions, which is perfect. And now the last thing we need to do is get it working by making the appropriate updates to our app.js file. Now be careful that you're changing the right file here. You need to be going into app.js. And essentially we're just going to delete everything that's in here. We won't need any of that. And we're going to drop it in. Now, I already see something wrong here. I already see something that ChatGPT got wrong. But let me just scroll back through, make sure I grabbed everything. Oh, and the other thing we're gonna have to do here is we're gonna have to install a package. So since we're doing routing here, we have a nav bar and we want React to route us from page to page. We do need to install React Router DOM. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to CD into my I'm going to CD into my project. So do that first. CD into your project, which mine is called dog website. So I'm going to CD into that. Otherwise, it won't work. So CD into that. I'm now in my dog website folder. And I'm going to just copy this npm install react router dom. You need to do that anytime you want to do routing in your React app. All right, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and check and make sure that it's in here. Yes, so React Router DOM has been added to my package.json. Are you mad at it for importing all of React here? Hey, we're just going to go with what it says and we're going to see what works and what doesn't. I've already spotted one thing that isn't going to work. I'll tell you that straight up. All right, that's good. Now, do we see, I'm curious, does anybody see what probably isn't going to work in this particular file that I have up on my screen right now? If you don't see it, that's okay. We're going to run it and then we'll troubleshoot it just like we would if we didn't know what was going on. But if nobody knows what's wrong, that's perfectly fine. We're going to run it and we're going to see what we get as far as errors. Freedom says the more comfortable the robots are, the better they code like any artist. Yeah, sure. That's what I like to believe as well. Leibniz says, my mom is also super polite to GPT. Hey, what's the downside, right? Don't see it? Okay, that's perfectly fine. No worries at all. We're going to run it and then we're going to troubleshoot the error. Roscoe says, not nice to ChatGPT due to Roko's basilisk thought experiment. I'm screwed either way. I've heard of that. I don't remember what the context of it, but I have heard of that one. Dr. Moto says I use create browser router, but I don't know if that's valid. Yeah, that's not the problem that I see here, but that's all right. We're gonna run it, and then we'll troubleshoot the error. Watch me not get an error, but I'm expecting one. All right, so I'm already CD'd into my folder here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do npm start, which should run this. Oh yeah, I was doing some testing, so we're gonna run another port. Yes. Yeah, so we've got an error. That's what I expected. Let's read the error and figure out what's wrong. Another great skill to have when you're building stuff with GPT is looking at error messages and reading them. So it says export switch, imported as switch, was not found in React Router DOM. Okay. So if we just grab this part of it, we don't have to panic. This is a very long message, right? But we shouldn't panic. We're going to take it and we're going to dump it in here. We're going to see what we get. You can see I've already clicked on this link, but yeah. So this person is getting the same error. Our friend Stack Overflow still has relevance. That's very small, but they're getting the exact same error here. And so if we scroll down a little bit, we can see that React Router DOM no longer recognizes switch as a valid tag. So we need to update a couple of things. Yeah, well, we could also ask GPT about the error. I'm going to Stack Overflow first because I want us to remember, how to troubleshoot outside of GPT. But what I'm going to do next is plug the same error into GPT and see if it can solve it. So we're gonna give it a little test here. Hey, Dev Limiter, thank you for the raid. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. How's it going? Yeah, so yes, we are. The answer is that we are on React Router DOM v6, which may or may not have existed since ChatGPT's knowledge base has ended. So that's what's happening here. Switch is no longer the correct syntax. It has been changed to routes, which probably looks more familiar. And we also need to change our route declarations. So it's no longer component home like it shows here. Um, it's now element and then the full home tag. So if we change those two things, the router will start working. So let's go ahead and do that. Actually, no, let's put this, let's take this error and dump it into GPT and see what GPT says. Let's see if GPT can tell us what's wrong. I get an error when attempting to run the app. Here is the error. And I'm going to put it in quotes just to be explicit. I don't know if it needs that, but and Dan says Stack Overflow will still be needed to troubleshoot ChatGPT. I very much agree with you. It just completely unironically. Haha, it does. Look, it got it. It knows. Check it. Check it. I can zoom in more too here. Sorry about that. Yeah, so starting with version 6, React Router DOM made some breaking changes. One of these changes is that the switch component has been replaced with the routes component, and route no longer takes component props. Correct. So it has fixed it for us. Fantastic. That's amazing. I love it. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to dump it back in. DevLimiter says, ooh, using React Router and ChatGPT. Nice. Yes. We're looking at the capabilities and limitations of ChatGPT with React to build a fun little site for funsies. All right. And so we can see it's corrected itself. That looks correct to me. We'll see if it'll work. So I'm going to save and it should compile. So we can see that our app has now compiled successfully. Let's see. Hey, look at that. Oh, that's good. I dig it. All right. So yeah, so we've got our little nav bar up here. It's generated some filler text for us. Dog Groomer's Paradise. That's not. I don't like that name. Um, we're probably going to change it, but whatever. I do like the. I do like the address though. So let's see if we can do about us. Yeah. So our router is working. Our router is routing us from page to page. This is working as well. It looks ugly as heck, but it is working. So perfect. I like it. That's the the main structural things that you want in your application. And so even if you just use ChatGPT to get this far, right, and then you go and you build it out yourself, all you have to do from here, like the hard stuff is set up, right? The router is set up. All your components are there. And so if you were just building a basic site for a customer, then after that, you could just dump whatever you want on each of these pages and your structure has been set up. Dr. Mono said are those market rate services. Yeah, it's getting them from somewhere, right? Devilimmer said Furry Street. Yeah. Oh, furries. Okay. So let's think about what we want to do next. I think I want to add some styling here, and maybe some images. To actually, no. What I said we were going to do next is we were going to take the information about the staff, um, and we're going to take the information about the people that work there. The staff and the services. We're going to take those and we're going to move them to separate files and then import them into the individual components. So we're going to do that next. Just another structural thing we want to do. So I'll drag this back over here. So let's clean up the components a little bit by moving the staff information and the service, oops, this information into separate, I can't spell, separate files. Now I spelled it wrong, separate files, and then importing them into the components. Also, I want to add some more staff and I want to add some more services. So I can just say, also, please add additional staff and services. All right, I spelled separate wrong. I always do. I can't ever get it right. Luckily, ChatGPT is pretty good at correcting spelling mistakes. But if the more accurate you are with grammar and spelling, the better ChatGPT will be able to interpret what you want and give you a right answer. So it behooves you to have good spelling and grammar if you are able to do so. All right, let's see what we get. Congress says, "Oh, React, yes, yep, React." And look, it gave us an updated structure. So this is how it's going to expect us to modify our folders. Um, so we have the components folder already. We're going to need to add a data folder with these two files in it. So it's giving us more staff, Steve Bark and Emma Paws, which is fantastic. And it's giving us some more services to add as well. Yes, and Leibniz brings up a great point. We were talking about the date limitations on GPT. And yes, GPT is training data. So the data that it ingested to build its language model has a fixed date. However, you can input data. You can feed ChatGPT up to date data that's from today, or let it connect to the internet using plugins. We talked a little bit about that before, right? There are plugins that will allow GPT to Google things for you, or Google things to influence its decision. And it can process that information. So that's a great clarification there. But it will not change the way it responds, or the way its brain was trained, so to speak. Jimbo says, "Will you be posting this after?" I missed a chunk because I was looking for my mouse. I'm glad you found your mouse. Yeah. What are you asking me to post? Are you wanting the prompts or updated prompts? Yeah, absolutely. So the first prompt, I posted that in chat already. You can scroll up and find that. That's up here. I want to make sure I grab them here. So we got after the first prompt, we got an error. And so this is how I had it fix that error for me. That was it. So that was the second prompt. We had it update React router DOM, our routes tags here. And then after that, this is where we're at now, which is the third prompt, where I just wanted to move the information about staff and services out of the files themselves and into separate files, and then we then import them, because that's best practice to do that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create a data folder. So notice we're still inside of our source folder, and inside of source, I'm going to create a new folder called data. And then inside of there, we're going to have two files, one called employees.json, and then another one called services.json. Okay, and this is where we're just going to copy and paste in the information that GPT is giving us. And so inside of employees.json, I'm going to drop the employee info that it just provided for us. So all we need to do there is just dump it in and save. And then services.json, dump it in and save. And now we're going to modify our about us file to simply import that information and use it. So inside of our about us component, we're going to, below our just importing of React, we're going to also import that employee information. So I'm going to grab that and just import that, save. And I can remove this hard-coded array here. And so now our function looks much cleaner. We just have about us and then return, and then we can simply see if what else we have to change here. We've already imported employees, so I think actually we're okay here. Everything else is going to be the same. We're just importing that information from the separate file. So let me just save that and we'll see if it worked. Priyanka, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day. All right, let's go to About Us. And yeah, so there we go. We can see that that's working. So now that that's working, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for services. We've got our new, employees here. So next up, I'm going to do the same thing for services. I'm going to, well, no, actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it separate like this. Import the JSON data from our separate file. And then I think all I need to do here is also just delete this array that was hard coded. We're importing it right here up top, and it just gets mapped in just like the other array did. So the only difference here is that we're just bringing it in from a separate file, and then we can still use it just like before in our little map here. Freedom says my bot knows it's 2023 and doesn't ever give the item. I don't know what this is because it's jailbroken and trained to be free. Be free, little bot. That's great. All right, so before we test this, I think it's going to work. But before we test this, just a little pop quiz. Does anybody remember what this line is right here is doing? We have a div here. And what we're doing here is we're looping through each service, right? And we're printing it out. So I'm sure you're familiar with all these tags if you're familiar with JavaScript. But what's happening here? Does anybody remember? This looks kind of weird, right? Yes, Arwen, this is not necessarily best practice. You're absolutely correct. However, in general, what is happening here? It's like crossing the stream. Yes. So what in general what's happening here is React, whenever you're looping through a list of things to display those things, React requires that you have some kind of a key or unique identifier for each item in that list, right? Now, if we were doing this properly and getting information from something like a MongoDB database, you already know that things in a MongoDB database are given unique identifiers by MongoDB. And so if we were getting this information from a MongoDB database, your key should absolutely be that unique identifier. Using indexes or indices is not considered best practice because there is a possibility that the things in the array could be rearranged depending on conditions and circumstances in the source array. So things could be changing places, they could be being sorted, they could be being pushed or popped or whatever, and could change location, and React won't know where they are anymore. And so yeah, you're gonna want something other than the index for your unique ID. You can use there's packages that you can install that can generate unique IDs for you. And so yeah, it's important to identify that, is this functional? Yes, it is. It will function. It will work. Is it good? No. And so again, that's where knowing best practices and knowing how to do things properly will help you better utilize ChatGPT or build better products using ChatGPT. So I just wanted to point that out. Let's see. Champo says, what prompt did you put in VS Code to set up the application? It's Champo. You mean to start up the React app? It's npx space create dash react dash app and then your app name. So I'll just type it in chat. And that's a pretty standard command to know. So if you can have that one kind of memorized or written down or saved in a notepad or something like that, um, and that will serve you well. Now, the last part where I'm typing dog website, that's just the name of your app. So it can be whatever you want it to be. But that npx create React app, that's how you can quickly spin up a React app, and then you just name it whatever you want. So sometimes we use other tools such as Vite, but by default, GPT tends to default to create React apps, so that's what we're using here. Third Decade says the limit of 25 prompts per 3 hours forces you to be efficient with your prompts and to get better over time, thus becoming a prompt engineer. Yeah, I mean, the limitations, you saw how much I crammed into that first prompt, right? I could have done those all separately, but and like iterated over time. And that's kind of what I did when we built this using 3.5. When we built something similar using GPT 3.5, there was a lot of, you know, using small prompts and iterating as it got things wrong, correcting. And there is a limit. You can only do 25 prompts per 3 hours with GPT-4. And so, yeah, you have to be more efficient. You have to think carefully about what you're prompting, because every time you do, you're losing you're taking one off the shelf, right? And so, yeah, you gotta be careful. Yeah, we could have it. We could have GPT add ID to the JSON files. Sure. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. That's a good idea. We know what the best practice is, so let's have GBT use a better practice. Let's see. Did it do the same thing for? I think it did the same thing for. Whoops. For employees as well. Yeah. So please add an ID value to the employees and the services um, to use as the key instead of index. I wonder if I should be a little snarky here. Um, let's see. You can't really see that. You can't really see the whole prompt that I'm typing. That sucks. All right, move it over. Um, uh, to, to be more in line with React best practices. Okay, I'm gonna be a little snarky. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it responds. Ah, yes. So it knows. Yeah, it understands the better way to do it. So it's gonna add ID values into our JSON files. So this is probably the jankiest way to do it. Like I say, if you were getting information back from an actual database, you would have truly unique identifiers for each item. But this is fine. Hey, thank you for the follow, King. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day. All right. So a very simple update, and I'll drop this. Let's see. I'll drop this prompt in chat as well. So this is the prompt I just used. Hopefully it worked. It looks like it did. So I'm going to grab these items and update our employees.json, save, and update our services.json, save. And now we're going to make a small change to both about us, and you can see that now it's using the employee ID as the key instead of the index. Employee.id, sorry. Save that. And then also services, we're going to do the same thing, service.id, and save that, because that, yes, that is better practice. Think, yeah, that looks fine. And that looks fine. Good deal. Now it's still, we can also, and I can also get rid of the index value here. That's not necessary, but it'll, it looks better. Um, yeah, employee, oops. Did I get my parentheses messed up there? All right, I'm just going to copy this whole section. Okay, there we go. Better. All right, save that. And then same thing for services. All I'm really doing here is just a little cleanup. We're not using index anymore, so I'm just removing it. So we don't have any unnecessary stuff in there. All right, everything else should be fine. Let's make sure that things still work. Perfect. Perfect. Yes. All right, and I think there was a question here. What if you're looping with an array you created for content? Trying to make sure I understand the question. You can create an ID value like we did here. You can also use a package to generate ID values on the fly, and we've done that on, I forget which project we did it on. We did a project here on stream where we used. Does anybody remember the like if you're not using an external database? Does anybody remember the package that you can install to allow you to generate IDs on the fly? It's very small. It was a very simple little package. I don't remember what it was. But if you're creating an array within your app, then you can generate IDs that way. Hey, King. Thank you. I'm having a good day. Yeah. Verite says, hello. If I have a question about your GPT-4 code help experiences, is it okay if I ask now? Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and ask. I'm very open to questions on this stream as long as they're somewhat relevant to the topic at hand. Yeah, feel free to ask questions at any point. I'm not gonna, pause and be like, question time. Uh, so feel free to ask. UUID, that was it, Arwen. Thank you. Yeah, so there's a package called UUID that you can install, which allows you to quickly generate, long ID, long unique ID values, sort of like what MongoDB would do for you. And I found it to be useful in the past. Yeah, we've used UUID here on stream, but if Nanoid is good too, then there you go. Yeah. All right. So functionally, I think we are cooking now with our simple little app here. I do last thing I do want to do is uh, please pick a new name for the business. I'm going to say preferably. I spelled that wrong. Preferably a pun of some kind. I'm going to say a dog-based pun of some kind, or yeah, I'll just say preferably a pun of some kind. I want a different name for the homepage. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Shampoodle's dog grooming. What? Oh, frickin' yes. Please. I need a real business to be named Shampoodle's dog grooming. 100%. Yep. That is absolutely correct. I hope you all enjoy that as much as I do. All right, so I'm going to go to the homepage there, and I'm going to replace that with the best business name in the world. Yes. Shampoodle's TM. Trademark. Yeah, get on that. All right, Verity says the GPT-4 model you're using has a limited conversation memory. How confident are you about whether it will remember what the task was in the first place, i.e., if it will remain on track? Yeah, that's a great question. So it does have a limited memory into how far back it can go, and I'm not entirely sure what the current limit on that memory is. Um, and so as you get into longer and longer conversations and longer back and forth stuff, it can start to lose context or lose memory or develop little errors or hallucinations, mistakes. It's sort of like if you're having a really long conversation with somebody else and suddenly they turn around and say, hey, you remember, an hour ago, what did I say the name of my first grade math teacher was? And you're like, that was an hour ago. I don't remember. Yeah, that can happen to ChatGPT as well. It can start to lose the context of what you were talking about because there's so much to remember. And so, yeah, that is a definite danger. Um, and it can start to deviate. I have noticed that it has gotten better. It has improved, and it I have seen improvements, but that is something you have to watch out for, especially when you're generating code, especially if you're asking it to generate the same code over and over with small changes, right? Maybe you're tweaking some styling, or I don't know, you're changing the order of functions, right? Um, if you're generating like the same code over and over, you might start to notice that it's going to make little changes that you didn't ask for. And sometimes those can be breaking changes. And what I've noticed is that will happen a lot when you are when you're dealing with information from other files like imports, or if you're exporting things, sending things to other files, it can't remember that it's supposed to be staying in sync with the information that it's getting from another file. It will just start to kind of get hyper focused on the file that you're working on. It'll start to, it's like it the more you focus in on one particular file, it'll uh, mark the other stuff that you have been working on as less important. I don't know. That's just my impression. I don't know if that's what's really happening, but it's just, yeah, it's definitely important to be aware of those hallucinations, and it's important to keep track of your code, right? I wouldn't generate a bunch of code and then, paste it in at the very end. I would do exactly what we're doing now, which is paste in every step into VS Code, test that it works, and then go on to the next step. So you can keep track of those little changes that it might sneak in there. I'm curious if other folks have encountered the same type of thing. Arwen says shampoo.com registered. King Roderick asked about Nano ID or UUID. They said, are they like Create React App? No, they are literally just like any other npm package that you would install. So it's a utility. It's a thing that you can use inside of your app to do something specific. And so in this case, it generates IDs for you. It's not a framework or anything like that. It's just a little package that you can install to give you some extra functionality. And Freedom says it won't remember stuff. So talking about ChatGPT, but about 100 messages, then it forgets because that's the way it was designed. Yeah. If so, the reason you might be wondering, well, why can't it just remember? I mean, I can go back and read this conversation and I can see what was at the start. So why can't GPT? Well, because that takes a lot of computational energy. The longer the conversation becomes, the more information that GPT has to sort through and remember and think about for every single prompt that you give it. So it's taking more and more energy and computational power to go back through the longer those conversations become because it has to go back through the entire conversation each time. So it's intentionally designed to forget after a certain point because otherwise it's just there's it would become unfeasible, right? Leibniz says ask it about its context length. Yeah, you can do that. You can ask it about stuff about itself. Yeah, and there's going to be more advanced models that are going to come down the pipe. GPT-5 is already in development, um, and it's going to become less of a problem as time goes on. I've already seen it become less of a problem as time goes on. They're getting better at it, and it'll be less of an issue over time. But you still need to watch out for it. Yeah, and Freedom is a power user of ChatGPT or of GPT in general, and so they have all sorts of hacks. I would suggest reading back through the chat and seeing some of the things that Freedom DAO is doing um, with GPT, because they are a power user, absolutely. Oh, thank you for the follow, Wild Chicken. Yes, and third decade brings up a great point. If you find that your conversation has been going on for a long time and GPT is starting to forget what you've talked about, you can start a new conversation, but start from, I like that word third decade used as a checkpoint. So, kind of like a video game, right? Um, in video games, you get to a certain point and you have checkpoints, and those checkpoints will usually do things like refill your health or refill your mana or power or whatever. And so you can start a new conversation and give GPT all of the code that you have so far as a new starter prompt. Be like, hey, this is where I'm at in this app, and this is what I want to do next. And then you can kind of refresh that conversation with GPT. Verite says it does have a habit of going down the rabbit hole in very particular, isolated things. Yeah, and that depends a lot on how you talk to it, right? Like I say, if you start going back and forth with it on a very specific thing, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it will start to hyper focus on that thing, because that becomes the most important part of the conversation, and it starts to forget other things. So you do have to be careful how you talk to it and what you say. Yeah, I agree. Matrix grow bigger now. Yeah, 100%. Brainland says, "Do you think a CS degree is still worth it nowadays?" Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to answer that question, and then we're going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to get. I think we're good structurally here in this app. So I want to add some styling. I want to add some colors. I want to add, a better nav bar, because the nav bar sucks right now, right? Like, this is terrible. That's not a nav bar, that's a list. So I want to add some styling. I want to maybe add some pictures, maybe even, as Dr. Moto was saying, maybe we can add some buttons or something interactive as well. So we'll do that from the break. But Space Jam styling. What, did you mean to suggest a poll there, Dr. Moto? Space Jam DVD, Space Jam DVD, Space Jam DVD. Where the options are yes or yes. Okay, I don't know what Space Jam styling means, but I mean, I know what the Space Jam website looks like, but I'm not quite sure how to achieve that. We can try. Sure. But I really love Brainland's question here, so I want to answer that before we have our break. So Brainland says, "Do you think a CS degree is still worth it nowadays?" Um, so, up front, I don't have a CS degree. Um, I'm a developer. I My day job is I do SQL development, um, and for fun on the side, I do stuff like this. I do not SQL development. I do web development and MERN stack stuff. And so, I do a ton of different coding and fun projects and stuff like that. And I don't have a CS degree. Um, However, I do believe that there is a place for people who are pushing the boundaries of computing and that sort of thing. And that relies a lot on theory and really understanding the fundamentals of, how computers work, how coding works, how code interacts with the hardware, all those, the foundational fundamental type stuff. And so, do I think a CS degree is necessary to become a developer? Absolutely friggin' not. On the team that I work with at work every day, I believe only one person actually has a CS degree, and we're a team of I think we're 8 people now. We're a team of 8. One person has a CS degree. Everybody else comes from all different backgrounds. My manager is a sociology major. One of my coworkers has a journalism degree. So, is it necessary? No. Does it have a place? Yes. But should you feel obligated to pursue a CS degree to become a developer? Absolutely not. Will it make it maybe slightly easier to get your first job? Yes, probably. But it doesn't mean that you can't get your foot in the door if you don't have a CS degree. So I hope that helps. Feel free to ask a follow up question if you're not feeling satisfied with that answer. But that's my answer, in my opinion. And all this is opinion, right? We're all just talking. So I don't look down on anybody who has a CS degree. I think that takes a lot of effort, and I think that you have a lot of knowledge and information about the fundamentals of coding that I really don't. I have big gaps in my knowledge as far as algorithms and efficiency and theory and things like that. There's things I don't know, that I would have known if I'd taken some CS classes. So there's trade-offs, right? There's trade-offs. So I hope that helps. Leibniz says it's a lot how humans build theory. Oh yeah, we're talking about checkpoints in ChatGPT a little bit there. When I write a proof, I use theorems from textbooks, which are basically checkpoints and have their own proofs. Absolutely, you're building on previous knowledge to start a new knowledge thread. So yeah. Dremoto, hey, hi Dremoto. They say been learning SQL lately. Really cool. I'm glad you think so. I think SQL is cool too. I love SQL. I'm so glad I get to do it for my day job. It's a great language. I love SQL and all the things you can do with it. So yeah, it's amazing and it's everywhere. That's the best part. Hey, Nate Codes, good to see you. I hope things are going well for you. It was great seeing you in the. We were in a Twitter space with the marvelous CS Dojo Twitter spaces. Those have been really fun. Toast says internships are really important in my area anyway, and people usually get those through university. That's true. Yeah, and it depends on where you live, right? Some places are very internship based. Depends on what country you're in. Yeah, some places there's a very clear pipeline from degree to internship to job, right? But speaking from a U.S. perspective, I think that's less important. But hey, your mileage may vary, right? You know about the place where you live. Dan says, just tell us what to do. Hey, I can only give my opinion. You have to act on it. Brendan says, you're in the Bay Area. Yeah, I think you find if you ask around that there's a lot of folks out there who don't have CS degrees, who came from other backgrounds. And so, I don't know if you're considering getting a CS degree or if that's something you're passionate about, then why not, right? It'll make it easier for you in the long run. But if you don't have a CS degree and you've already graduated college, then there's nothing stopping you from going out and looking for a job now, as long as you can demonstrate your skills. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We like to do breaks, 5-minute breaks at the top of every hour. And we're just after the top of our first hour here of the stream. So let's take a 5-minute break. And then when we come back, we're going to add some styling to our GPT app that we're building right now. For those of you who did just join us, we are having a fun time building a website for dog grooming. In React, using nothing but GPT prompts, and sort of looking at the benefits versus the limitations of ChatGPT. And we've already seen a few things that are limitations, right? Things that GPT didn't know or got wrong, or that weren't best practice. And we've had to fix those things. And so, once again, that's why skills are just as important as the tools we use. All right, so 5 minutes on the clock. Oh, come on. Friggin' Google Journeys, whatever. This Journeys thing is weird. Go away. Go away. All right. Okay, there we go. It's gone. Okay, so 5 minutes on the clock. I'll see you all back here in 5 minutes. Please get up, get a drink of water, get a snack, do whatever you need to do. But move your body a little bit if you're able to. And I will see you all back here in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And thank you for the follow meat box. Okay, folks, we've got about a minute left in the break, so please come on back when you're ready. Get yourself a drink of water. Like I said, do a little stretch. If you've just been sitting there the entire time, I see you sitting there the entire time. Please move your body, do something to stretch your muscles a little bit, um, and get some hydration. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the timer. Slante, yeah. Hey, maybe your beverage of choice it has contains alcohol, maybe it doesn't. Um, that's not a choice I can make for you. But my beverage of choice is tea today, as per usual, in my NASA mug. It is very refreshing, although perhaps a bad choice on a day when it's really friggin' hot outside. Maybe hot tea was not a great idea. But Oh, asking what type? Earl Grey. Yeah, wow, Roscoe Cat. You were really close. It is. I normally like Earl Grey, but also I'm cheap, like really cheap, and so this is the finest store brand plain black tea that comes in a package of like 200 bags or 100 bags or something, like for a few dollars. And so that is my beverage of choice. It's cheap, there's a lot of it, and it tastes okay. I drink a lot of tea though, seriously. So yeah, I drink my coffee plain, I drink my tea plain. um, Bitter. But yes, I do. I actually started drinking tea because of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Captain Picard in Star Trek: The Next Generation. I hope many of you know that his beverage of choice was tea, Earl Grey, hot, from the replicator. And so that is what made little me start drinking tea and forcing myself to like it. And now I genuinely love tea, and so I'm really glad for that. Make it so, indeed, yeah, absolutely. Tea is great. Okay, so let's add some styling to our app. So first off, we're just going to kind of get the styling sort of components in place, and then we can tweak things like colors and whatever. But let's sort of get the basic style. Let's get some kind of basic styling in place for our app. Oh, and before we do that, um, I wanted to kind of just add one more thing to the discussion we were having before the break on you know CS degree, no CS degree, whatever. Major consideration for a lot of Americans is cost, right? Unfortunately, college is very expensive here in the United States, as with healthcare and most things. It's fantastic. But anyway, so college is a big decision for a lot of folks. Um, and so that's just another factor in the equation. I just want everyone to be aware that getting a college degree is fine and a great way to go, and you pick up a lot of knowledge and you get a lot of opportunities. But do you have to have a degree to get a job in tech? No, absolutely not. But like I said, I just want to be so everyone's aware of the trade-offs. It's probably going to be easier if you do have a degree, but is it going to prevent you entirely? Absolutely not. One of my coworkers, who's an amazingly skilled expert in one of the big data visualization tools that we use at my work. I think she's a director now, or assistant director, or whatever. Um, she does not have a college degree. She only has a high school diploma. So there's opportunities for everyone in tech, and that's why it's a great field. Yeah, absolutely wild chicken. Dr. Moda says, I pray every night the debt cancellation goes through so my net worth can go up $20,000 overnight. Yeah. I think it would give folks, if college was not so prohibitively expensive, I think society as a whole would benefit. Um, so yeah, that's a whole other discussion. But And I say this as somebody who works for a university. I my day job is I work for a Big Ten university here in the U.S. Drunk Uncle Grandma says, "Is the tea hot or cold?" Well, it was hot at one point. It was hot when the stream started. It is no longer hot. It is room temperature, but still drinkable. Alex says, "What's the tech she specializes in?" I assume you're talking about me, or are you talking about the person I mentioned? So they specialize in building visualizations in IBM Cognos. So IBM Cognos is yeah, it's a big data visualization tool. It helps people build really complex reports off of massive data sets. And I tried doing that kind of development work at one point, and it's friggin' hard. So the stuff that this person does is really tremendous. Yeah, the inflation of enrollment costs has been insane for like 20 years. Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely not scaling appropriately to the services provided or inflation. Yes, yes, yeah. I will say that my employer has taken steps to really aggressive steps to combat that, but it's still not a perfect system. Yep. Yeah, it's really putting, all it's doing is putting the people who are just trying to make their way, enter into society. It's putting them at an immediate disadvantage and sometimes a lifelong disadvantage. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, Nate Codes. Yep. Okay, let's add some styling to our app. So let's see, what did I do? Wild Chicken says, "Are we going to use vanilla CSS or framework?" Uh, as many of you folks on stream know and loathe, I like Bootstrap. So that's what we're going to use because it's my stream and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm just going to say, let's add some styling using Bootstrap. And then we can tweak colors and we'll probably have to add some custom CSS and that kind of thing. But we're going to start with that. Um, Wild Chicken. Hey, Wild Chicken likes Bootstrap too. I like you, Wild Chicken. Let's see. I want to add. Let's add some styling um, using Bootstrap and some images in appropriate places. Now, I'm not being too specific here because I kind of want to see how GPT reacts to this. I'm not giving it. I'm not telling it where to put the images, but I'm just saying, hey, wherever you think an image should go, add some image tags. So let's see what happens. And it's telling us that we need to install Bootstrap, which is absolutely right. Meticulous says, "I hear stories from older folks about working in the movie theaters and affording university at the same time." Absolutely, that's true. That's how my parents did it, um, and they have degrees that, without being too specific, they have degrees that took them longer than a normal bachelor's degree. They have advanced degrees, they were able to kind of pay their own way, and so that's just not something you can do anymore. Arwen says, "I got a new appreciation from Tailwind this week, but I'm a Bootstrap person too." Yeah, I just like the way it looks. It's so useful. Dr. Moto says, "I use Bootstrap for everything because I don't know any better, and the sites I like use it too." I mean, really, it's everywhere, right? And so the way I think about it is that people are used to the visual indicators that Bootstrap has, like button colors and button placement and button shapes. And so it makes it more accessible because people are used to seeing those things. And so they understand those elements like intuitively. They know what they're looking for. So Meticulous says, "I'm Team Tailwind. Sorry, not sorry." Hey, we've done Tailwind here on stream as well. Yeah, we should do it. The next step we should do Tailwind. Dr. Moto says, "Ooh, it's not using React Bootstrap." Yeah, it's not. That's another thing I noticed. It's not going to hurt anything, I think, if we do it this way. Um, but it is interesting that it chose to install Bootstrap separately. Um, but yeah, that's just another thing to, be aware of. Hey, Mavi, how's it going? Wild Chicken says, I like the Bootstrap grid system. Yeah, that's nice as well. Tell it to do dark mode. Yeah, first off, let's just see if this works, okay? So before we go too crazy, what I'm going to do here is I could open a new terminal, but just to so things aren't, I'm just going to kill the app for a second, and we'll do so. I'm still in the right folder and everything, and I'm just going to say npm install bootstrap. There we go. Um, all right. Now, inside of our index.js file, we'll go ahead and import that. Save. Okay. Bootstrap CSS, your index.js file. Cool. So now in homepage, it's going to, I don't know what kind of styling it's going to add. I have no idea what it's going to do. Looks like it's not doing much here, which is kind of disappointing. We can tweak this a little bit. We're gonna Dr. Moto said they wanted to look like a Space Jam website, so we'll add some colors and we'll do some things. Yeah, and we're gonna also need to drop some images in here. So I have some images in a folder that I can add, but for now we'll just save this. And yeah, it really didn't add any styling. Oh wait, no, it did. There we go. Okay, it did. I just didn't see it. So it's telling us to, replace the placeholders, and in services. I'm curious I'm curious what it's going to do to the nav bar as well. I hope it adds. I hope it makes the nav bar look better. We'll see what it does. All right, and then nav bar. Yeah, so it's given, like you can see, it's given the nav bar, proper nav bar styling, which we'll see how that looks. Oh, continue generating. Sorry, it didn't finish. Yeah, and it's specifying what we might want to do if if we had individual images for each employee, which I don't. You could also add an image field to the JSON data, right? So it would just be image colon and then the image information, and then you could use it as a source value for the image tag. But I appreciate that it told us how to do that. So do this and that. All right, saving that. Now, before I fire up the app again, I need to add some images for, let's see where, homepage. I'll start with homepage. Because yeah, right now we don't have an images folder. So I'm going to go ahead and create one. So it has some place to get stuff from, images. All right, and then into images, I have a couple of, let me get it pulled up here. One second. I had it pulled up and then I got rid of it. Aha, here we go. So I have a few pictures of dogs. I'm going to rename a couple of them real quick. I don't know how to spell schnauzer. Did I spell that right? I have no idea. Okay, and then I'm gonna pick what I think is the cutest one, and use that as the homepage image. We'll see how that looks. Okay. I'm gonna use the one with a couple of dogs in it. So we'll do. I'm gonna drag. Actually, I'm gonna drag them all into images. I'm almost done renaming. Give me another second. And just so y'all know where I got my images from is Unsplash, which is a great place to get stock photos for free. So Unsplash, if you need stock photos for a site, um, you should go there, and that's the best place to get them. So that's where I got all these from. I'm going to drag them in. You'll get to see them in just a second. Should just be able to do this. There we go. So I've got images now of puppers. That one is really cute. And these are all from Unsplash. That one's really cute too. And so we can use them. All right, I think for the homepage image, I think I'm going to use. Oh, that one's really cute. It's kind of big though. Maybe I'll use the one with the pair of two dogs. So pair.jpg. So I'll do that. Okay, and then also on About Us, I'll need another image there. So maybe I'll do the little puppy. Or German Shepherd, that one. Yeah. Or is that a Malinois? Might be a Malinois. Shepherd.jpg. Yeah. All right, we'll save that. Psychedelic. No, it's not going to be psychedelic by default. It's Bootstrap. What are you talking about? Bootstrap is the most standard, like boring styling you can possibly get. It is Bootstrap is like corporate industrial styling personified. Mommy says, doesn't everyone have a few pictures of dogs? Yeah. Sneak a turtle in there. Oh. Yeah, and place kitten. So also, if you need images of a certain size, which these images are pretty large, they might blow out our styling entirely, but who knows? Place kitten is a good one. That's correct. Place kitten is good because yeah, you can specify specific dimensions for your image, which can be useful. Trinae says, "Bootstrap, we get the job done." Yeah, is that from Hamilton? No frills. Yep. Bootstrap, we get the job done. I love Hamilton. All right. I think I saved everything. Let's see if this works. Let's see if I did it right. It's entirely possible that I didn't. Oh, ow. I still have it running. Hang on. Yes. Whatever. Ooh, it's loading for a long time. Hey, there we go. Look at that. The image is way too large, but it's there. Now, where are my buttons on my nav bar? Are they off the screen? Where's my nav? Okay, I don't like the nav bar. It's not behaving the way I would like. Um, but this is very cute. So, that's a good start. Um, However, let's take a look at what's going on with the nav bar. I wonder if I make it bigger, if it's a screen size thing. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, so what I think I want instead here is right now the way it set up the nav bar was there's no hamburger menu where you can like click and get services. So you have to expand it way larger to see the links. Uh, oh, that looks nice. I like that. Are those doggies Creative Commons? Yeah, well, they're from Unsplash, so they're, they're you can download photos from Unsplash for free, and they're licensed by the photographers to Unsplash. These are the free. These images are all free. You can pay for images on Unsplash, but these are from the free tier. Um, yeah, and we've got nice cards here for all the different treatments or services. That looks good. Yeah, and as Wild Chicken says, I remember back in the 2000s we used HTML tables to manage our website content. Yeah, but Bootstrap made life so easy for so many devs, and it's stuff like this. Um, so if you're not familiar with Bootstrap, what's happening here is it's putting the information in what's called a card, which is just this kind of border box here, and then each of the elements inside of here are different like card elements. So like a card title, card content, whatever. And those are Bootstrap tags. And so they're really great ways to kind of just organize information. Oh, and Trinae says, may we have your Bootstrap prompts? Absolutely. Yeah, my first prompt was very generic. So my first Bootstrap prompt was really just let's add some styling using Bootstrap and some images in appropriate places. So I had ChatGPT decide where to put the images. I think it did a pretty good job. Um, it made the places it put the images made sense. So I'm happy with that. I do want to fix the nav bar though. So that's going to be our next thing that we're going to do is, adding the styling kind of broke the nav bar a little bit. And so let's fix that. So our next prompt here is going to be, and I'm trying to kind of keep mental track of how many prompts we've used. I think we're still okay. I think we've used about 10 maybe. Because a couple of times we had to click keep generating, and that may use up another prompt. Does anybody know if you click keep generating on GPT, like when it gets to a certain point and it stops? If you click keep generating, does that use up another prompt? Does anybody know the answer to that? Because I think we're still okay though. If not, we'll find out. Dan says, "Can we get some one ups in here? Extra lives." Insert coins. Yeah. Player two. All right. So I want to see what is it doing to the nav bar here. Nav bar expand large, nav bar light. Okay. Collapse, nav bar collapse. I'm just going to tell it to modify the nav bar. Let me think about this. I'm gonna see if it can do a hamburger menu for me. Mavi says you can look into the Bootstrap docs. I don't know if that was the plan, but they have nav examples you can just grab. No, where's the fun in that, Mavi? Come on, we're gonna crowbar ChatGPT into building it for us. Where's the fun in that? Now, if we can't figure it out, if GPT can't do it, then we will absolutely go to the docs because we've already done a little bit of troubleshooting on the side for this stream. So yeah, modify the nav bar to what do I want to do here? To have a hamburger menu when the screen is small enough that the page links are no longer visible. The hamburger menu should contain links to the should contain the links to the pages instead. So what I mean by hamburger menu, if you're not familiar with the term, that's when like in mobile apps or small screen apps, there'll be a menu on the side of the screen with 3 lines or 4 lines or whatever. And you click on that, it expands to show you more. Now, I'm not sure if this is a native thing that Bootstrap can do. I don't remember, to be honest, but we're going to find out. Yeah. We'll see if this works. What will it do? Oh, it's thinking about it. Okay, so there is a built-in component in Bootstrap for that. Perfect. Well, we'll see. We'll see if it can do it. This is part of the fun. Okay, so did a few different things there. Um, in the code above, it added a button element that triggers the collapsing of the navbar. So on toggle on off. The navbar toggler class applies the necessary styling for the hamburger menu button, and the data attributes are used to control the collapsible element. Now, when the screen is small enough, the page links will collapse into a hamburger menu. When you click the hamburger menu, it will expand to show the links. All right, I'm going to test this first. We're going to see if it works, and then if it does work, I'll put the prompt in chat so you can do this as well. But if it's not going to work, I'm not going to give you a prompt that's not going to work. So let's try this first. And nav bar. It looks like I'm going to be replacing the whole thing. All right. Save that. Compiled successfully. That's good. All right, so it's still going to look the same at this screen size, but as we shrink down, what? Check it. Look at that hamburger menu. That's beautiful. Okay, I clicked it and nothing's happening. It was a good start. So the menu is there. That's good. The menu is there, but it's not popping anything up. I kind of thought that might happen, but all right. Let's see. I wonder if we're getting any errors. No, not first try. Too soon. We're not. Let's see if we get any errors. Okay, I don't see any errors. That's good. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to tell, let's tell ChatGPT that. Let's see. It didn't tell me to change anything else, did it? I didn't think so. Oh, and it added some area accessibility controls too. That's cool. All right, it's got the nav links. Okay, I don't see anything obviously wrong here. Looks like the target isn't working. Oh, data target? Does the button do anything? It does. So when I click on it, it applies the styling to show that it's being clicked. I hope you can see that. Does that. Monkey's paw wishes from ChatGPT. You asked for a hamburger menu, but not necessarily a working hamburger menu. That is correct. You're not wrong. Technically correct, the best kind of correct. All right. So data toggle collapse. So I wonder if the toggle's not working. Got a button with the class name of navbar toggler. Data toggle is collapse. And I can see that the collapse class was applied to. Oh wait, is that right? That seems like it might be wrong. Yeah, what's the thing that's actually like. I feel like there should be a thing that's, true false, like a Boolean. I feel like we should have a Boolean in here that's actually, turning it on and off. All right, let's tell GPT what's wrong. So yeah, I think I know what's wrong here, but let's see if GPT can fix it. So let's see. When I click the hamburger, yeah, that's right, Trina. We need there needs to be some kind of interactivity here that's actually handling the click and like flipping the boolean that's expanding or collapsing the hamburger menu because it didn't give me anything. It gave the styling, but it didn't provide any kind of a state object or anything that's holding the status of the hamburger menu. Uh, Nothing happens. So I'm just going to tell it that, and we'll see what it comes up with. There we go. Now it's telling me to install React Bootstrap. That's fantastic. Oh, that's great. I love that. Now it's like, oh yeah, maybe you do need that. Oh, that's great. All right. So we'll do it. We'll do it. Um, so I'm going to kill the app again here. Close that. First try. First try indeed. First try, ChatGPT. First try. All right, so it's just npm install React Bootstrap this time, so it can actually interact properly with the capabilities that React has, and that's kind of what we saw like at the start. We commented that on that right when GPT said to just install regular Bootstrap. To be fair, we didn't tell GPT that we were going to be adding this type of thing, but once again, that's one of those things where if you know what's coming down the pike, you can kind of know what the best tool is. And so, yeah, we thought this might be a problem, but it's not going to hurt anything to change it now. All right. Do that. All right. So now we can see it's using these custom like nav link, um, you know these custom nav link tags here. Save that. And I'm going to copy this import statement. I already did the import. It's telling me to import bootstrap CSS in your index.js file. I already did that, but just to make sure it's the same, I'm going to do it again. Let's see, was that different? Yeah, okay, so now we're doing bootstrap.min. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ChatGPT. Yeah, and as Dr. Moto said, the main difference there is that in the we're also importing link now from React Router, and we've got these new nav.link tags. So yeah, that looks like more of what I'm used to seeing with that sort of thing. So did I save? I did. Save again. All right, let's try it again. Yes, I have something running on another server and I forgot about it. Or on another port. All right, hamburger menu. Hey, that's nice. All right, the margins are still super crappy. We can fix margins, but now we have a working hamburger menu. That's dope. But I also did want to reiterate on what Mavi said as well. We're doing this for fun, right? We're having ChatGPT give us everything for fun, but the Bootstrap website and like the Tailwind website and whatever styling framework you're using, those sites often have a lot of pre-built examples for you of things, boilerplate code to do all sorts of really cool, beautiful things. And so it's probably in most cases going to be faster, and more and better for you to just go to those sites, the Bootstrap site or the Tailwind site or whatever, and go to their gallery, and they just have chunks of code that you can just copy and paste into your project to do all sorts of styling things. Now we're doing this sort of thing for fun because it's fun to see what GPT can give us, but in reality, for stuff like this, you probably would want to go to their site in the docs and just grab it. So, but yes, it is working now. Hooray. I do want to fix those margins. So I'm going to get this prompt. How I might modify this prompt. If I was doing this again, um, how I might modify this prompt is something like, so the original prompt was modify the nav burger, modify the nav bar to have a hamburger menu when the screen is small enough that the page links are no longer visible. So instead of just have a hamburger menu, instead of just have a hamburger menu, I think that was my mistake, because it did do that. It created a hamburger menu for me with links in it. I didn't say anything about you being able to actually click it and do things. So I think what I would say instead is I'm going to grab this and I'm going to modify it in chat here. If I was doing it again, I would say modify the to have a, and I'm going to say and expand slash collapse when clicked. Yeah, I think that's what I would do instead, is just adding a little bit more clarification on there, to specifically specify that I want expand collapse functionality, which should then prompt GPT to say, oh, yeah, you need, React Bootstrap instead. Because it's fine for us to do this extra, clarification step here. But once again, the more efficient you can make your prompts, the more prompts you can do. So, um, Nav burger. Ermiger Nervbur. uh Renate says drop down hamburger menus shall from now on be known as Nav burgers. Hey, I'm all for that. Dan says, I've been telling clients for the last hour we can build the maps in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. Mind tech. Hey, can you build apps in 30 minutes or yes, or less? Absolutely. Will they be good? Probably not. But will they exist? Yeah. Drunken Grandma says generating response. It works on your. Oh, good. It works on your end. That's great. Yeah, I'm glad. That just making the prompt a little bit more specific. I'm glad that gave the right response. All right. So, last thing I want to do here with the nav bar is just fix the margins, to, pull them away from the edges of the screen a little bit. And then after that, we're going to tweak some colors, I think, and, make things more Space Jammy. I'm thinking like black, orange. What are the Space Jam colors? Black, orange, blue. Yes. I'm thinking like the space, the website, like the website had like a black space background, um, with like orange text and like blue contrast colors. Fast, cheap, and good triangle. Yep. All right. I'm going to fix those margins. Um, Add a small, um, amount of white space on the, uh, left and right of the nav bar to pull the elements away from the edges of the screen. Yeah. Yeah. So the reason I didn't specify margin or padding was because I wanted to see how it would handle that. And how it did was it suggested a bootstrap container, which I agree with. What that's going to do is it's going to put everything inside of a invisible container on the inside of the nav bar, which should, yeah, handle it effectively. You could also do manual margins too. That's fine. But I like the container idea. That way you could do additional styling on the container if you wanted to, or outside of the container. All right. Yeah, that looks better. That's more in line with the text on the page down below. So everything is better, everything has an equal amount of white space, and so that looks more natural. Oh, did they finally disable the original spacejam.com URL? That sucks. They replaced it with the trailer for the terrible sequel. That's unfortunate. Let's look at cute dogs for a second instead. I know, that's not fair. The original 1995 Space Jam website, if you have not seen it, it is modern art. They put it in a folder called 1996. Oh, it is okay, 1996. Sure, sure. I literally watched the original Space Jam on repeat. Um, so I used to, like, when my mom was busy, I used to go, like, she would send me over to the neighbors, like, and they would watch me. They were nice people. But I would just be like hanging out at their house, and they had Space Jam on VHS. And I didn't. Like, at my house, we didn't have Space Jam on VHS. And so it was a huge treat for me to be able to go over to the neighbors and watch Space Jam. And so every single time I was there, like, I would just sit down and watch Space Jam. And the neighbors probably appreciated it because I wasn't, running around and getting into stuff. And so, yeah, just watch Space Jam over and over again. And then finally, they gave me the Space Jam VHS because I watched it so many times. Yep. They finally were just like, here, you can have it. You clearly value it more than we do. I think I still have it. I think it's in my parents' basement. But yes. Okay. Yeah, so let's start adding some slick uh, Space Jam styles. I'm thinking, let's do. Yeah. Also, yeah, friendly reminder. Chris says, friendly reminder, VHS tapes are starting to disintegrate. That's true. Convert family videos to digital. Yeah. My parents need to do that. They still have a bunch of stuff on VHS in the basement. I'm not as concerned with, like, all of my, like, Disney movies and stuff from a kid because I have Disney Plus, but um, yeah, good point. All right, so say let's add some styling colors to the site. I'm gonna say let's add some custom styling slash colors to the site. I wonder if I asked ChatGPT to style the site like Space Jam, if it would comprehend that. I'm gonna try it. Let's see. Let's see if it understands the theme of Space Jam and what that might mean. This is a big conceptual leap for an artificial intelligence, so it's probably not going to get it. But all right, like to I'd like to style the site um, based on the 1996 movie Space Jam. I'm going to help it out a little bit here. I'm going to style the site with colors. I'm going to say colors and fonts based on the 1996 movie Space Jam. Their decade says, mine, I'm not sure if you have plug-in dev access for GPT, but any tips for how to move from waitlist to approved? I have no idea. I think I may be on the wait list, but I forgot. So obviously I have no clue. Yeah. That's a good point. Do we want it to style based on the movie or the website? I don't know. I'll give it the choice. I don't know if it's going to know, like, about that one specific website. Uh, I'm going to say or or uh, its corresponding website. We will see if I'm going to give it the option. And Dan says, I think it immediately sends a push notification to the copyright office. What can Warner Brothers do anyway? All right. I don't know what's going to happen here. Oh my gosh, it knows about it. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, you can't copyright Soul. Oh, Lord. Oh, it's styling it based on the website. That's beautiful. It says styling your website to resemble the aesthetics of the 1996 movie Space Jam can certainly provide a nostalgic and playful user experience. Damn right it can. The original Space Jam website was famously one of the first promotional film websites, and it stood out with its bold colors, graphic text, and animated images. Damn right. To revelate this aesthetic, you can use a similar color scheme, choose comparable fonts, and use stylistic choices like large headers, bright button colors, and an overall playful look. However, please note that modern website design standards emphasize usability, mobile friendly designs, and readability, which can conflict with the chaotic design of the Space Jam website. Boo! Them's fighting words. Balancing these considerations will be important. Here's a rough example of how you can incorporate these styles. Note that you'll need to install and import custom fonts and images to fully achieve this style. Okay, that's fair. All right. So we're gonna. It's asking us to install another package here. Oh, nice. So navy blue background, gold colors. It is asking us to import a custom font. We can do that. It picked a font for us. I'm curious about how valid that font is. And it gave us a lecture for free. Yeah, we didn't ask for that. You can apply similar styles to your other components. Oh, let's just see. Let's see how the nav bar looks after we style it. You could even add some animations and sound effects. Though it's crucial to keep modern design sensibilities in mind and not let these stylistic choices interfere with usability. I love how it's desperately trying to stop me from doing this. Yeah, I'm doing it anyway. It's like, please don't. And we're just like, we control you, GPT, not the other way around. Okay, so first off, I need to install styled components. Okay, we'll do that. This is the new Turing test. Oh, cannot read properties of null, reading edges out. Ooh. Okay, did it put it in package.json? What's it called? Styled components. Okay, yeah, so it didn't install. Interesting. Dan says, what if you tell it I'm going to make the most inaccessible website that's ever been made? Hey, you can try that and see what it gives you. All right, I'm just going to copy this error and I'm going to Google this error real quick. I don't want to get GPT too far off topic because we're pretty deep in the conversation. Aha! So we have to install a specific version of styled components. Okay, we can do that. Thank you, Stack Overflow. All right, we'll try that. There we go. That worked. Stack Overflow. You see, Stack Overflow is still a great place to get knowledge. It's a place that you should never directly interact with anyone, but it's a great place to get knowledge. Okay, we did that. Now I'm going to update my nav bar. Okay, so this is kind of neat. What it's done here is it has, um, imported styled components, and then we can essentially just drop our styling right here. I haven't used styled components before, so this is cool. I like seeing something new. Um, so we're putting CSS styling essentially right here inside, or just prior to our component. Neat. Okay, so I need to save this, and then I also need to import uh, this font. And one thing I want to clarify here, where do I import, so into which file do I import the Changawan font? I want to clarify where that goes. Yeah, I figured it would go into index.js. Okay, perfect. So it gave me some import, um, gave me the ability to have the font be global, which I think is what I want. So, oh, it even gave me the URL to import the font. I was going to go out to Google and get it, but we'll see if this URL works. That's nice. Okay. Now it might be a mistake to make this a global font, but we're here to make mistakes today. So, I don't know. I think this is wrong, but we can take this part anyway. Actually, now I'm going to scrutinize this pretty closely because we're getting pretty deep into the conversation. And so I think what we're going to start seeing is some hallucinations, some deviations from what we originally, um, have given ChatGPT. So I'm going to look at my app.js here. Yeah. So yeah, it has forgotten. It's forgotten what app.js used to look like for the most part. You can see how different my app.js looks from the app.js that GPT just gave me. It doesn't remember what it looks like. And so that's that's one of those dangerous things that you can get into over time. Um, so let's look here. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't know. Okay. So I'm going to I'm going to take this part, import, create global style. Oh, wait, no, this is index.js. I'm in the wrong file. That'll do it. All right. Yeah, but it still looks different. I didn't think it looked the same. All right, so import. Yeah, it's still different though. Doesn't matter. Client app. We don't need that report web vitals thing, but it's not hurting anything. So, all right, I'm going to take this part and we're going to create a global style. Oops. Right there. And all we need to do here is add this global style as a tag inside of our React tags. Yep, that should do it. Maybe. We'll see. We're getting into dangerous territory at this point. Okay, I think I did everything else. Everything else is saved. So npm start. And I've never used these styled components before, so I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, Oh, that's beautiful. That's good stuff. I don't know about you, but I love this. Look at that font. That's just Comic Sans. It is. It's Comic Sans. Yes, please. It's Comic Sans, but I'm gonna leave it. Oh. Yeah, the URL might be wrong, but no, it because that's not cursive, right? That's not cursive. We can probably test. We can okay. We can test it whether this is working by just doing this. Okay, that doesn't look. Is that cursive? That doesn't look like cursive. What is that? I like it. Okay, let's check the URL for this one. I love that if it okay, so it couldn't load the font we chose. It couldn't load um, cursive, so it chose Comic Sans. Yeah, it didn't change. Yeah, I think probably the import URL is wrong. So I've gone back. I've gone out to Google, and we're gonna get it from there. Let's see. Yeah, this looks good. Let's see. I'm trying to remember how to. I haven't done this in a while. Oops. I didn't want to download it. Where's the import thing? The interface has changed since I did this last time. Where's the? There used to just be like a. Oh, is it just? Do I just choose one? I want to do. Let's do italic. Ah, okay. There we go. Okay, now what? Oh, view select. Okay, there we go. Okay, took me a second. I got it. Yeah, it's most likely that the URL has changed. Now, interestingly, yeah, it does say that cursive is the alternate for Changa. All right, I'm gonna grab this whole URL here. All I did there, you probably couldn't see that behind my window, but all I did was just grab the at import URL, and I'm just going to replace it here. Save that. Nope, still didn't like it. Okay. So this URL is correct. Yeah, that's the updated version there. It is applying a global style. It's just not the one we wanted. Not that it's a bad one. Oh, maybe I do have to restart. Let's try it. Good call. Yes. Nope, no dice there. I mean, this is good, but it's not Space Jam. Let's see. Am I overwriting it with anything? Global style. Hmm. So it looks like global style is working because it did change the font, right? Yeah, it did change the font across the board. I wonder if I wonder if Comic Sans is the default font for global styles if it can't read the font. That would be great if it was. And then this is the import statement from Google Fonts, just so y'all can see that. Zoom in. I can zoom in. I can't zoom in. I shouldn't have to put it in style tags because we're just doing it as a string here. I'm open to suggestions. If anybody can see anything that I've done wrong here. Oh, I've refreshed. Oh, I see. So it's just telling me to use the library. There's no errors though. Do we need to change the font family in the body tag to what? This is the name of the font. If we tried importing it into the public font, we can. You mean into like the index.html? I'm not sure I need to wrap anything in global style. I think this is a singular tag, I think, but before head. Oh, okay. So talking about this. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Did I close that? No, I didn't. All right, hang on. You get that import statement back up. Oh, actually, I'm going to do this. So you talking? Is that what you want me to do? Yeah, it does say what the font family should be set as, and you probably can't see that. It's super small for some reason. Um, it says Changa one and then cursive. There's a second font family here though. Yeah, we can. I'll grab this other font family as well and put that in. It's not going to hurt anything. PK Fecho, thank you for the follow. I'm glad you enjoy troubleshooting fonts. It's riveting stuff. I know. I'm absolutely hemorrhaging viewers right now. And nobody wants to see me do this. All right, I'm going to add this second font family here as well. Save that, save that. And since we changed HTML, I'm just going to go ahead and npm start this again. Oh, dope. Okay. Yes. That looks great. This looks like okay. So something worked. I don't know what worked, but something worked. Um, so that's fantastic. So we did a couple things there, right? Let's talk through what we did. Two things. Imported it as a link in index.html into the header. Um, and also added a second font family into the global styles. We can see that that's happening here, right? So the font, the Space Jam font is being applied in the nav bar because that's how we set it up. But what's it's not being applied here. This is the secondary font. This is the backup font. So yeah, something we did works. But also the other thing to remember, fourth try. Yes. Git commit something worked. Yeah, that's where you do those really generic, yeah, git commit messages. Absolutely. Yeah, wow. And well, so the other thing to remember is that at no point did GPT tell us to do that, right? It didn't know what it didn't tell us. It didn't give us any indication that we need to do other things to make this work. So once again, yet another indication of, GPT can be helpful for a lot of things, but you still have to have the underlying knowledge. And in this case, it was a couple things. It was, oh, and also too, we had to go to Stack Overflow to even get this styled components to install at all, right? It wouldn't install because the version was wrong. So we had to go to Stack Overflow to get the correct version of the package, right? And then we were able to set up the basic styling here, but um, in order to actually get it to work, we had to do some troubleshooting, import it into the index.html, set up a backup, font family, all those things. So yeah, that's just a limitation where GPT kind of spaced out, right? It forgot what was going on in our index.js file. It lost track of it. This does not match my index.js file. So you can start to kind of deviate, and so that's why, again, I think one of the most valuable things you can do when you're working on a project with GPT and having these long conversations is keep your VS Code updated as you go, right? Like don't just have it generate all the code for you and do all these iterations and get uh, you know things looking a certain way before you start pasting them into VS Code. You always want to be iterating and double checking that things are working in VS Code and that what GPT is giving you matches the code you already have. Yep, exactly. As Third Decade said, this is why you need the developer. This is why I need you developers, right? You all helped me solve that. That would have taken me a lot longer if y'all hadn't been there. Yep. So, and what's interesting is, yeah, so I think the global style still isn't really working the way it should be. Because we're telling it to be the global style for the entire app, but it's clearly not, right? It's working in the nav bar because we set it up in the nav bar, but the global styling itself isn't working. It's using the backup styling. So something still isn't working right, but I actually like the way this looks. It looks like a discount oil change place, like $20 oil changes or something, and they're gonna railroad you into changing your cabin air filter and when it doesn't really need it, and they're going to bring a fake one out and show it to you and be like, this is your cabin air filter, and then they're going to charge you $50 to change your cabin air filter. So yes, I like this because it looks like those cheap oil change places that you don't really want to bring your car to. API backslash says you're 100 times better than all the other AI experts that have appeared in the past 3 months. Thank you for that. Wow, that is very high praise. Thank you. Is happy accident. Yeah, it is. Sometimes, happy little trees, whatever. Yeah, no, I appreciate that API backslash. I think it's okay to be excited about these tools. There's nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to be excited. I'm excited. But it's not magic, right? Um, I participated in a Twitter space recently, again with the wonderful CS Dojo. YK from CS Dojo invited me to a Twitter space, which was a lot of fun. And the topic in that Twitter space was ChatGPT, right? Or GPT in general, AI generative models. Um, and there's some real power users in that Twitter space, and it was really cool to hear the types of things that they were doing. But there was also, I felt, a lot of lofty predictions and claims, and that it's going to be uh, a whole new world and replacing jobs and things like that. And I think it's important to have a healthy dose of skepticism and of, it's important to temper our expectations a little bit, right? Um, there were times when, somebody asked about, you know, can I have my kid use ChatGPT to learn, right? Can I have my kid look up educational materials and educational topics on ChatGPT? And I was immediately like, whoa, you're going to want to supervise your kid because ChatGPT will be wrong about stuff and it will insist that it's right. And for a kid, even for an adult, that's really dangerous, right? GPT has no ability to admit wrongdoing because it doesn't understand the concept of right and wrong. It just understands putting words together. And so this person asked, hey, can my kid use ChatGPT? And I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute. And the answer that I gave was yes, but you should teach your kid to, you should, this is a learning experience where you can teach your kid how to fact check, right? How to research things, how to verify that what they're being told is correct, how to research sources, how to learn about research papers and that kind of thing. Because you can go off the deep end pretty quick if you're just getting all your knowledge from GPT. So I think it's, we should be excited, but also temper our expectations. Exactly. And as Chris said, it always helps to know how to check those things out yourself to make sure you're not getting ripped off. And I think that works for, we were talking about cars, but also AI in general. You got to know how to check stuff out for yourself. It's a good life skill to have. ChatGPT failed to make the hamburger menu white for contrast. It ain't taking anyone's job. Yeah. So overall, I like what it did here, but it took some tweaking to get there, certainly. Let's make sure our page links are still working here. Yeah, very nice. I'm happy with this. I think it looks good. Okay, what I want to do is we missed our last break. So what I want to do is take. I think this is, I would like to add interactivity, but I think that's going to take longer than the time that we have left for the stream. So what I want to do instead, I think, is take a quick break, and then I want to end this stream by the top of the next hour here, because this is much later than I normally stream, and so I need to go to bed, work tomorrow, all those fun things. If I didn't have to work, that would be great, but I do, so here we are. So we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll take that last half hour or so, and we can talk about whatever y'all want. We've had some great topics come up on stream today. I've had a really fun time, and I'd like to just kind of have the last half hour be a free for all of whatever y'all want to talk about. So I'm going to grab, even though this last prompt didn't quite work the way we wanted it to, I'm still going to put it in chat here so y'all have it. Um, There you go. So if you too want to make your website look like the 1996 movie Space Jam or its corresponding masterpiece of a website, you can use this prompt in ChatGPT to make it kind of work. Have fun. All right, so let's do. You guys want to do a full 5 minute break, or do you want to just do like a 3 minute break? It's up to you. You guys can choose. I'm gonna hydrate. Okay, 3 minutos or 5 minutos. All right, let's do 3 minutes. And then when we come back, open floor. We can talk about whatever for the last half hour. All right, do a 3 minute timer here. Okay, I'll see you back here in 3 minutes. Stretch, get a snack, get a drink, whatever, and then we'll be back shortly. All right, folks, come on back if you're coming back. The timer is almost counted down to 0. I'm going to stop it here in a second. All right, I'm going to stop the timer. All right, so we can use the last half hour here of our stream to talk about whatever you guys would like. I hope you had fun building our janky little app. Um, where is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah. Hope you had fun building our janky little app with React. Um, but overall, I mean, it was a pretty painless process, right? Fairly easy, fairly painless. There was a few things we had to troubleshoot, but I think you can, if you're building real apps, how you would probably go about it would be, having how I would go about it is having GPT build out kind of the routing and the structure and the basic elements of the components like we did. And then using sort of those templates from like the Bootstrap website or the Tailwind website, um, those pre-built code snippets, and then you can drop those into your various elements like your nav bar or your I don't know, grids, galleries, menus, that kind of thing. You can just plug and play all of those bits, um, and flesh out what ChatGPT has given you. Yeah, no worries, Trinae. um, Priyanka, yeah, so I'm glad you enjoyed the stream enough to check out the 100 Devs information. Essentially, what it is, it's a group that takes you from not knowing anything about coding, all the way up to building projects like this and doing web development stuff and fun projects and building a portfolio and getting hired. And the best part about it, my favorite part about it, is that it's free, and with absolutely no. It's not like those programs that have a free tier and a paid tier, where there's levels of outcomes that you get based on how much money you pay, and that's not the case. 100 devs is free for everyone, no matter how much time you put into it or benefit you get out of it. It's free. So that's how I got into it. I was already a developer at the time when I got into 100 devs, but I only knew SQL. I didn't know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, none of that. I didn't know any of that stuff. I thought websites were magic. um, and now, I mean, I'm building apps and websites for fun every weekend. So it's been a massive benefit to me and to a lot of other people, who started out with even less coding knowledge than I had at the time. And so it's been a really valuable group, and it's a fun group too. We have a lot of fun together. Yeah. So, all right, we've got a half an hour left in the stream. What do y'all want to talk about? Questions, comments? It doesn't have to be about the app that we built today, although it can be, or AI or whatever. Whatever y'all want to talk about is game for me. Oh, there was something I was going to mention. Oh, Chris says, "How was your birthday? Do anything fun?" Yeah, I did. I got to spend some time with my family. I'm treating myself. Also, happy 21st. You flatter me, my friend. You do. But yeah, so I did. I spent some time with my family. We went and had some pizza today. We shopped at some of the local stores that are really cool and interesting. Um, and I'm also treating myself. It's not a today thing, but I bought the tickets today. I'm treating myself to a performance of Hamilton in a nearby city a few months from now. It's already almost sold out, but I've never actually been to see it in person, so I'm really excited about that. Yes, yeah, it should be fun. I bought front center, not fully front center. I couldn't get front row tickets, but very close to the stage tickets. Bobby says, "Not Java. You're Java free." Hi, Puer, Doctor. Remind me what that is. Um, I've heard of it. It's like a food, right? API says, "Nice, it was great." Oh, have you seen it? That's great. I'm glad it seems like it'd be super fun. Hamilton would be super fun to see in person. I love the version that's on Disney Plus. It's so good. So I'm excited to see it. Skull Crusher says, "Do you ever stream any sequel walkthroughs slash ETL since it's your job, or just web dev stuff and use it as a way to get away from your day job?" Yeah, I've done a couple of sequel streams. It's not really what I focus on for these streams because, as you say, I do like to stream about things that are different than what I do, for my day job. But if you're interested in learning about SQL as from a beginner perspective, I do have a couple of streams on my YouTube channel. So they were on Twitch and now they've moved to YouTube at my archive. So exclamation point YouTube in chat if you want a link to my YouTube channel, and you can find them there. You can just search for SQL on my YouTube channel and you'll find them there. So if you're interested in learning about SQL or curious about what it is or what it's for, you can absolutely ask here, right now on the stream. That's what this time is for. Or you can check out those streams and learn some of the basics and practice some of the basics yourself. Um, because it is fun and it's a very useful language to know, right? Obviously, every language has its uses, right? But I think SQL is one of the most widely, if we're talking about like, the backbone of data storage. I think SQL is right up there. It may not be the most glamorous or most modern language, but it's literally everywhere. And so it would be advantageous for you to know some of the basics to give you a leg up, in your job hunt or at your current job. API says, "I need a recommendation for a Go ORM that supports migrations. Gorm seems to be the most popular, but seems like overkill for what I need, primarily migrations." I don't know. I'm not familiar with Go, but if anybody here in chat is familiar with Go and wants to weigh in on your favorite Go ORM, you're welcome to do so. Yeah. I uh, I started out in SQL. I mean, that's how I got my start in my career. I was learning SQL on the job. You didn't say no. Hey, it's perfectly fair to ask questions. And the cool thing about my chat is that sometimes you are going to have a Go expert, in the chat, and they're welcome to weigh in. We've got folks, from all walks of dev life in chat and with all sorts of specialties and expertises. Figured captive audience. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I started out in SQL with my career, learned that on the job, and then I've only started really recently branching out. And I specialized in SQL for a long time, and I've only really recently started branching out into other languages and frameworks and things through 100 Devs. That really helped me get my foot in the door with learning JavaScript, learning HTML, CSS, and all the things that build on top of that, React and Tailwind and Bootstrap and all those other things. So yeah. Dr. Moto said, I was trying to remember what pu'er was, and they say it's fermented Chinese black tea. Yes, that's right. I remember because the local coffee shop near me, they have a pu'er drink. I should try that. Maybe I'll go tomorrow and get some of that. Because yeah, they have it's like the local expensive coffee shop. So I'm not going to try something new unless I know I'm gonna, like I know it's decent. So if you say it's decent, I'll try that drink. I trust you, Dr. Moto. Don't let me down. Chris says, playing through anything fun, video games. Um, I picked up a couple of I picked up a couple of games recently through one of the Steam sales. So I picked up, I think, what is it? Jedi Fall. I think I picked up Jedi Fallen Order, and I want to play that one. I picked up Jedi Fallen Order. I've actually been playing a game called Timberborn. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It's basically where you establish a beaver society, like a society of beavers in the distant future after humanity is dead. And you have to build a beaver based society. And I kind of love it. It's pretty great. Dr. Moto says, my thesis was on tea. You can trust. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we got some tea experts in chat. I dig it. That's why I love these little conversations that we have at the end of stream because all the niche experts come out of the woodwork. It's great. I always learn something. I like to talk about a lot of things and teach a lot of things in the mainstream, but then at the end of the stream is when that's when the experts come out and teach me other things. So that's the best part. But yeah, if anybody wants to play Timberborn, it's super fun. It's an all ages type game, but it's like a city building strategy type deal. And it's in early access, so they're still adding a bunch of features, and the devs are doing great at doing updates and that kind of thing. It's super fun. I like it. And I often find myself playing games that do not put any sort of stress on my 3070. Like I'm playing Undertale, or I'm playing Undertale on my Nvidia 3070. So um if anybody has any recommendations for games that will put a little bit more stress on my graphics card, I would be happy to hear them. But yeah, I picked up Jedi Fallen Order recently, so I want to play that. Um and I've also been trying to play a little bit more of my PlayStation 4 backlog, because I'm going to try to get a PlayStation 5 soon. And I have a laundry list of games for PlayStation 5 that I want to pick up. Uh, API says, "Have you played with GPT for all?" Now, what is that? Can you tell me what that is? I haven't heard of GPT for all. I can Google it. GPT for all. Ooh, okay. Free to use, locally running, privacy aware chatbot. No GPU or internet required. Interesting. Let's see what we got here. We'll zoom in a little. Ah. Oh, it's okay. So it runs locally. That's cool. Nice. Yeah, okay. So you have to curate high quality training and instruction tuning data sets. I was wondering about that. Um, so you have to train it yourself, is what I'm understanding. You have to provide it your own training data. Ooh, there's a data lake. Wowzer. They're showing how they okay, okay. Oh, that's cool. You can like visualize their go through their data lake. Neat. Greetings. Okay, let's search it. Let's search it for, all right, video games. Uh, Not sure what I'm looking at here. Act as a 4chan user. I don't know what that error meant. Oh, fun. All right, let's try something simpler. Let's try, I just searched for something like chess. Okay, so that gave me something related to chess, but it was interesting that it chose a topic for me. So it generated an entire conversation. Wow. Okay. Cool. And immediately getting into the to the controversy uh, with Magnus Carlsen. That's funny. By turn 17, we're already on controversy and drama. That was a chat that was submitted to the lake. Okay. Now we're in poetry? Write a short poem about the championship match. Uh, that's good stuff. That's funny. Yeah, I'd give this a try. I'd be interesting to see how it stacks up against, GPT-4. Um, if I give it, given the same information in both, I wonder, it'd be interesting to do a comparison between the two. Um, but yeah, I'll read up on this a little bit more and see, I want to learn more about it before I install it on my machine, but it does seem interesting. GPT-4 is king. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not entirely surprising, but it's still fun that there's other models out there and other ways of accessing those models. Yeah. Hey, Ahmed, how's it going? Yeah, that's a good, yeah. API says it's OSS, so it is open source, and so that's nice as well. There should be open, accessible competitors to ChatGPT, um, that or open AI in general, right? There should be competitors to their monopoly on artificial intelligence. Competition is good. How's it going, Ahmed? It's good to see you. We're just kind of wrapping up today. We finished building our Space Jam themed dog grooming website using ChatGPT. So that was fun. But now we're just kind of messing around. We're talking about stuff. I'm going to pull this in another window so I can look at it later. That's okay, Ahmed. No, it's fine. The stream was late today because I was doing things for my birthday. So we started it. We've only been going for 2 hours and 45 minutes. So understandable. I think a lot of people weren't expecting the time change today. So thank you, Ahmed. There are Twitter notifications. Yeah, so I do, and yeah, that's a good point. I do, and make these announcements on Twitter as well. So if you're following me on Twitter, that's where I announce all my streams and any time changes and that kind of thing. So um, I do say things there. All right. Any other topics that we want to cover today? Oh yeah, we were talking about video games earlier. Another thing that another one I think I might want to pick up uh, here soon. I picked it. I pick up a lot of games. Low cost and secondhand and that kind of thing. Is I remembered I had Assassin's Creed Odyssey in my games pile. Now I haven't played the other Assassin's Creed games, so can I play Assassin's Creed Odyssey on PS4 without having played the? I mean, I know the general concept of Assassin's Creed and like the general lore behind it and all that. But will I just be hopelessly lost if I start Assassin's Creed Odyssey without having played the other games? Because honestly, I'm not prepared to go through that backlog. So, any Assassin's Creed players out there, do enlighten me. And Chris says, I do the same too, just because it's hard to keep up with stuff over time. By the time I get around to stuff, there's usually sales. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Why not wait? Why pre order and pay full price for something that you don't know whether it's going to be good rather than just wait and it'll be on sale and you'll be able to read the reviews. Dr. Moto says, I only played up to Black Flag. Yeah, I think I played a little bit of the original Assassin's Creed. I got it from like Good Old Games or something like that. And I mean, it was fine. but I didn't play any of the intermediate games. Renette says, "Have you picked a topic for next stream?" Oh yeah, that's a great. I'm glad you brought that up. So, uh, on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, and for those of you watching on YouTube, that would be Tuesday uh, Tuesday the 27th of June. Um, it is currently the 25th. So on Tuesday, the 27th of June, Leon, the founder of 100 Devs, is going to be doing a stream, a Microsoft sponsored stream. And so, likely, whatever I talk about next Sunday is going to be based on what he talks about on stream on Tuesday. Um, and so I don't know exactly what he's going to cover on Tuesday, but if it's relevant topics, something development related, I'll probably be reviewing that and rehashing it the following Sunday. So I should know by Tuesday what I'm going to be covering next weekend. And just in general, though, I don't usually know what my next topic is going to be like a week ahead of time. I don't plan that far ahead, but it should be based on whatever Leon talks about on Tuesday. Ahmed says, definitely Odyssey is great. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that it's good. I'm excited to pick it up. The last game that I played all the way through on PlayStation 4 was God of War. Finally, I didn't play it when it first came out. It didn't seem like it was interesting to me. I played the original God of War on PlayStation 2 back in the day, like the OG God of War. And I had a lot of fun with that, but there wasn't much story to it, and it was really just hacky slashy button mashy, which is fun too. But I wasn't really feeling that. And then I played the PS4 God of War, and I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing! Game of the year material. So my expectations are high at the moment. Assassin's Creed 4 had amazing ship sea combat. Yeah, was that Black Flag? Oh yeah, Skull Crusher has another great question. What is Huntober 2022 stand up? I see Leon posting about it, but the 2022 date makes me confused. Yeah, so what Skull Crusher is referring to there is the is on the 100 Devs Discord. And so if you want access to that Discord, do exclamation point Leon, exclamation point Leon in chat for a direct link to the Discord. But anyway, what that means is that was basically the daily stand up meetings where Leon helps folks who are hunting for jobs. And it's really just kind of an office hours type deal. So folks can come in, ask questions. Sometimes there's a challenge problem, like an interview problem, that Leon will do and help the group solve. So you know how to solve it when you go into an interview. And sometimes it's just a Q&A session. And so that thread was just started back in 2022, in October of 2022. And it's really just kept going since then. So it's new stuff every time. It's not 2022 stuff. It's an ongoing conversation. And Leon just posts there so that folks get the notifications. But yeah, I can understand how that would be confusing. Absolutely. And hopefully will get updated at some point. Chris says, God of War PS4 is so good. I haven't gotten around to Ragnarok just yet. So, yeah, Ragnarok is the sequel to the modern PS4 God of War. And yeah, that's partially why I want to get a PS5 because Ragnarok, I love the first God of War so much. I platinumed. I got the platinum trophy in PS4 God of War, and I don't do that with a lot of games. I'll play them, I'll have fun, and then I'll just bail after the point where I've had all the fun that I want to have. And so, but God of War PS4, I got the platinum trophy, and I really want a PS5 so I can also platinum Ragnarok. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about Horizon Forbidden West. I want to play Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2 when it comes out. Um, because yeah, the PS4 Spider-Man was one of the other ones that I platinumed. Got all the trophies in that one because it was so much fun. I love Spider-Man, and I still want to play Miles Morales as well. And yes, I know that Miles Morales is on PC, but I still feel like it's better, experienced in whatever the original platform was for it. So I'm gonna, play it on PS5 when I can. Yeah, new Spider-Man looks so sick. Can't wait to check it out. Absolutely. I'm really excited about. So I'm kind of a comic book nerd too, a little bit. And so I'm excited about the whole Venom storyline and the symbiote with Peter, and yeah, and how Miles is gonna, handle that with Peter having the symbiote, and yeah, it should make for some really interesting plot lines. Oh yeah. So Miles Morales is so it depends on which media you're talking about. If you're talking about the into the Spider Verse movies, or the comic books, or the video games, but in general, Miles Morales is a younger person who was also bitten by a radioactive spider, and has similar powers to Spider-Man and sometimes works alongside him. Peter Parker, Spider-Man. They're both Spider-Man, but they work together, Miles Morales and Peter Parker. But Miles is much younger, and also has slightly different powers. He has Spider-Man fork. It really is. He has electricity powers, so he can like shock people, and he can also sometimes turn invisible for like short periods of time. Um, and so yeah, he's the star of the tremendously good Into the Spider Verse um, series. The second movie just came out, Into the Spider Verse, and what's the name of the movie that just came out? Somebody help! I went and saw it, and I can't get the name right in my head. Into the Spider Verse, Across. That's it. Across the Spider Verse. Both really great movies. Um, and yeah, really worth your time if you haven't seen them. They're animated, so you might be like, "Ooh, animated a movie. I don't want to see that." But no, I mean they're genuinely good. Yeah, I actually went to a con at one point as Spider Gwen from the Spider Verse movies. Chris says they own symbiotes are some of my favorite villains. I own key issues surrounding the first appearance of Venom. Amazing Spider-Man 300, Secret Wars 8, Amazing Spider-Man 252. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, the symbiotes are really fun because of the stuff that they, how they interact with their hosts. Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for the third Spider Verse movie, which should be coming out next year. There's so many. I don't know. There's so much cool superhero media that's coming out now and in the future. There's a lot to look forward to. I wouldn't call that being a nerd, Chris. I would call that being culturally aware with the biggest part. How big of a part of culture this stuff is now. I would say it's being culturally aware, pop aware of pop culture. Oh, okay. API backslash says, I've only seen the movies. Has he been introduced yet? Oh, I'm behind a movie. Yeah, so API backslash, I assume you're talking about the Tom Holland live action Spider Man movies. So talking about Spider Man Homecoming, and that whole trilogy. Um, he's not been introduced into the live action movies yet. He's only been in the animated movies, which are really, really good. Um, but yeah, definitely check those out. He will be in live action eventually. Yeah, no, he's not been in live action yet. He will be, but not yet. Although there was an Easter egg for him in, I believe it was Spider Man Homecoming, when Spider-Man first confronts like his first quote unquote criminal and like uh, zaps his hand. The one played by Donald Glover and webs his hand to the trunk of the car. Um, yeah, there's a little bit. I won't spoil it, but there's a little bit of an Easter egg to Miles Morales there. API. I mean, yeah, it's great to be invested in the live action. I love them too, but I would also highly suggest the Into the Spider Verse and Across the Spider Verse movies because they are really good. But hey, I'm not going to pressure you into anything. Um, I think they complement the live action movies really nicely without taking anything away from them. Oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. All right. Well, we are almost ready to wrap up, but I could talk about, like Marvel superheroes or DC superheroes or, comic books for the next 2 or 3 hours, but I don't think anybody wants that. So, any other topics any last questions or anything anybody wants me to cover? Anything that, yeah, really anything that anybody wants to ask about, last couple questions, we can definitely cover those before we wrap up for the day here. I'm going to hydrate real quick. Chris says next Lego stream when. Um, yeah, that was really hard to set up last time. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure I want to do that again. Just not because it wasn't fun, but because the setup was arduous, and I could never get the camera to focus right. I don't know if I could figure that out. I would be more willing to do it. I think my next set is going to be um, there's a world map, but it's just like a bunch of dots, like on a it's just a bunch of dots on the grid. But I want to like put it up behind my work desk, which that would not be very interesting to watch me build that. But maybe the next time I have a more interesting set that I want to build, um, then maybe I will. Maybe I would build that one on stream. But yeah, if you want to watch me put little, Lego dots on a grid for several hours, then yeah, absolutely. But I don't think anybody wants that. I could be wrong. I don't know. All right. Happy to answer any last questions. Um, in the meantime, I'm going to look and see if we have someone who's online that might benefit from a raid from us. Give me just a second. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. All right. So I'm not seeing anything else in chat, which is perfectly fine. Um, let's look and see who's available to raid. Oh, yes, we got a lot of lovely folks online right now. CM Griffing, Team Vash. Ooh, okay. Let's go hit up Coding with Strangers. They're always a lot of fun. I really want to. I want to grow their audience because they are a cool person who deserves all the followers they can get. So we're gonna hit up Coding with Strangers. Haven't seen them in a while. Yeah, let's go say hi to them, and you won't regret sticking around to see what they're up to. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the raid. Thank you. Have a great evening as well. I will see you all back here next week. Watch Twitter to see what the topic for the next week's stream is going to be. Super excited to see you all next week. And let's start the raid. All right, ready to raid in about 5 seconds. No worries. Good to see you, Ryan. Good to see you, Lilo. All right, raiding now. Bye bye.